Okay, so this first one is from our Patreon. Regarding 1 million ringgit in EPF, we can take the extra money after hitting this target before the age of 55. Is it hard to get the money out? Are there any real events in this case, where you guys have heard or seen before? Thank you very much. So yeah, Peter, go ahead.
From my side, I've never heard any restriction like hard to take out everything now. In fact, if I'm not wrong, recently over the past 2 years, I do realize my personal experience with EPF is that it is very effective and very efficient. In fact, if you step into their office, right, you will realize that they probably are one of the best service government agencies around at this point, Yeah, effective, fast, they will really assist you. Those of you who try to withdraw before from a flexible account, you probably experience the same, right?
Yeah,
Where just a very quick few days, straight away,
efficient.
money is banged in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say there's pretty good. And I think that it's the good thing about the 1 million ringgit to hit that number in EPF, honestly, it's not that hard. Yeah, it is not that hard if you are precondition is that you're earning not bad and you're in the urban area kind of thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I think I did a calculation before. It's also posted on our profile. Is that if you started working at 24 or perhaps 22, and then you earn a salary of 2.5K every month, assuming you have no increment, you can already hit this 1 million ringgit target. Yeah, we're not even talking about inflation because we're assuming inflation cancels out your salary increment, right?
That's
So
right.
these two net, right? These two net, you have a salary of 2.5K, you can actually reach 1 million by the age of 55. So for those of you guys in the chat, if you're a bit worried, right now you are 35 or maybe even 40 years old, you look at the EPF account, 100,000, 200,000 ringgit, you feel like it's still very far away from 1 million. Don't feel this way, because compound interest, it really stacks up in those final years, right? I think Peter, you also will agree with me.
Yeah.
Right?
There's a huge difference between 10 years, 20 years,
Correct.
and 30 years kind of
Correct.
compoundment. Yeah, that's why Warren Buffett only became a billionaire past 50 years old, right? He didn't become like some famous billionaire before that, right?
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the next question before we address the live questions over here. Oh, this one is about business. I think you're quite familiar with this, Peter, because you've started a lot of businesses. What is the best business to start in 2025 with a capital of 50K?
What is the best business to start with 50K? Okay, to put it this way, I think that if you are thinking about starting a business and you want it to be safe with low capital, I think the best way is to start engaging audience with content.
Right.
Which is precisely what both of us are doing, right? Yeah.
Right.
Why is this so? Is because a lot of people have this idea that when they start business, you have this thesis that, okay, this will work. This is definitely going to work. And you start throwing money in. But when you start throwing money in, the issue is that sometimes it doesn't work. And then you end up losing the money.
Exactly.
But what happens is that if you start with content and you engage audience first, you are actually doing a very simple audience market survey. And when you have the market view, it is always easier for you to sell a product later. Yeah, it is easier to sell whatever kind of product you want to have in mind later. So I would suggest that the best way, lowest risk, is to begin a content company or an engagement related kind of thing.
Right.
So it can be in such a way where it's your own personal Instagram, or your own personal YouTube page. You just want to put up content, engage with people, talk about a particular subject matter or interest that you have. Let's say you want to sell model figurines, then you should be talking about that much more, right? Now, on the other hand, if you're looking at a little bit more exciting stuff, I would say that with 50K, perhaps again, I think as of today, the easy way to start something is actually e-commerce.
Yeah. Okay.
E-commerce would probably be, I would say that, scalable, low cost, low risk. Yeah, it's something that you can just begin with.
Interesting. I think personally what I'll do with that 50K is I'll take it to invest. And because it's much more easier that way, and probably use that 50K sort of like, probably 10K, just try and throw it around and see how to play with the markets a bit, and then share those mistakes to the public, right? So that the public knows what mistakes you've made, and then you're sort of like creating content on your own end.
That's right.
Also, building your brand. So I think it'll be interesting also, like, if you post a
That's right.
video of like, oh, I have 50K, I'm investing how much in the stock market, yada yada, see how it
That's right.
performs. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and that comes back to building a content, right?
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so next question. Oh, this one is a bit long. Let's see. So I'm just gonna read it out. If someone expenses is 100,000 a year, ooh, which is a bit high.
Mm.
With our 2 to 3% inflation annually, their expenses would double in 24 years. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
correct. So EPF's enhanced savings target, I think you know about the basic savings,
Mm.
adequate and enhanced, right? So EPF's enhanced savings target of 1.3 million right now, it will rise to 2 million plus later.
Mm.
That means for someone who manages to reach 1.3 million prior to retirement age, it will not generate enough passive income, as he or she would actually need 3.6 million in his EPF account, assuming you spend 200K per year, just to live off on dividends alone, since he or she can't fully withdraw until 60. With EPF changing its withdrawal limits and targets over time, is it still a good plan for retirement or early retirement, as this question suggests? Oh, long question.
Oh, yeah, this is a long
Yeah.
question, and it's something that recently, within our office, we are having a discussion on. Yeah, also very sensitive to answer, right? At the same time.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, a bit
yeah,
sensitive.
so
Yeah.
um, I think I'll share my opinion very quickly, and then
Go ahead.
maybe yeah, Shinji, you can also add in, right? I think we can't deny the fact that in global trend, withdrawal limit for retirement funds is gonna increase along the way.
Yeah,
Whether is it by increasing of age or either the number increase before you can withdraw.
yeah,
The reason being is very simple. In the world population, birth rates are decreasing,
that's right.
and there are less people putting in fresh money because of that,
Yeah,
right? I think with gig economy being one of an increasing income revenue kind of thing, I think that voluntary contribution towards EPF, although it increases, but it's not going to be as good as mandatory,
mm,
right? Yeah.
mm,
So those are part and parcel of it that will cause EPF to have lesser and lesser money in
mm,
future,
mm.
and that will cause certain repercussion effect that we will not be able to see at this point.
Yeah,
But it is a problem that's 30 years down the
mm,
road, which means my generation and your generation, Shinzi, I think that is something that we're going to be a little bit more aware of on how do we want to play about with it. But I would say that based on the question that the person asked, there are two issues to tackle. Number one, if let's say your retirement income has to be 100K a year, and you're purely depending on EPF, I think, yeah, then you'll face exactly like what you are saying, and I don't think there's a good solution to it because
mm.
you are trying to predict something that's out of your control.
That's right. Yeah.
Now, I personally would do it this way. If let's say 100K is what I want, I will predict 50% coming from EPF, another 50% coming from my own external savings for myself. So
Mm.
that's where you need to also actively invest, actively set aside money aside from EPF, right? Now, with that in mind, then what you can do is that when you reach about say 50 like that, you can still choose to withdraw a certain portion, right? And you can still play with those numbers. So I think it requires you to focus on what you can control rather than you can't.
That's true. That's true. I mean, it's no denying these days like that, 1.3 million right now seems like a lot of money, but actually in the next 10, 15, or 20 years, confirm is not enough to retire, right? Which boils down to the importance of investing yourself, investing in yourself. Then after that, use that knowledge to learn how to invest in the markets, right? And I think you and I both we've discussed about it extensively also, lah. But his last point over here, is it still a good plan for early retirement? I think right now EPF is still a very good place to stash your money, especially if you're a low risk investor, right? Because there are very few places out there that give you such good dividends, 5.5 to 6%. Like recently, it declared 6.3% dividends. And if let's say you've already reached the age of 55 or 60, the full withdrawal age, right? Your EPF account will still generate dividends with that money inside.
Yep.
So imagine if somebody tells you, I'm going to withdraw my EPF account and put it inside FD when they are already 55 or 60. It doesn't make any sense, right? Because that money is liquid to them. They can withdraw anytime.
Yep.
And they can also contribute more. The limit is 100K per year. and the first, I think, 7,000 ringgit is for tax reliefs.
Yeah.
So if you're a low risk investor, you're close to the retirement age, or you have already achieved the retirement age, right? I will agree with this point. I think EPF is still a very good place to stash your money and withdraw every year, lah.
Totally agree.
Cover a bit of extra. Yeah. So second question, other best low risk investments to generate passive income while keeping capital untouched besides EPF. Ooh, this one is a bit asking us what to buy already.
Yeah. But I can tell you one thing, like in my opinion, right? EPF has set the bar so high, it makes it hard for every other people to compete in that category.
That's true. I mean, our line of work, my line of work is to basically scour the internet, see which cash app is the best, which bank offers the best FD, right? And the highest right now only goes up to 4%. So
That's right.
it is very far away from EPF. EPF is like 5.5 to 6%. So yeah, the best low risk place is probably still EPF.
That's right. Yeah, and you're talking about having some sort of capital protection at the end of the day. So it's like, yeah.
Okay.
Hard to fight.
Okay, so we still have quite a few questions. Somebody pointed out over there, Eugene. EPF is underrated. Most unit trusts don't outperform EPF over the long run post fees. That's correct. I think, Peter, you agree with me also.
Yeah.
Probably we should do a post about this, right? Because I have the data. There was this data by FSM1 which analyzed over 100 different types of unit trusts, right? Can you guess how many beat EPF? So 100 of them, 100 of them, about 30 to 40 of them, they are aggressive, considered aggressive. Then like 20 or 30 of them, they're moderate, and the remaining is conservative. So out of this 100, can you guess how many beat EPF?
If I were to take a wild guess, probably about 20%.
Less than 5.
Less than 5? Whoa.
And less than 5, those 5 unit trust funds, right? Again, this is compiled by FSM1, which probably does not encompass the whole unit trust, but it's actually a big, market sizing. Those 5 unit trusts, they beat EPF very minimally only. Their performance is like 6.8, 6.9% only, which EPF performance 6.3 is not very far off. So,
But I would also argue that there are certain unit trust funds that just outperform significantly. And that's the thing, right? But the issue is this, right? If you can find one unit trust that actually outperform, there's also only that few unit trusts. And usually these few unit trusts, their fund size becomes so huge. And sometimes when it becomes so huge, it kind of backfires also.
Backfires.
Yeah. So there's this, I don't know how to answer that line.
So I guess you would have to, as an investor, you have to do your own research, right?
That's right.
Previously, I think right now EPF also they have this iInvestment tool, which allows you to filter out for the best funds. So probably listeners over here, they can go and explore more themselves, right? Yeah. Okay. We hop to our next question, Peter. Yeah. Suddenly I can't hear you. Not sure why.
I accidentally pressed mute.
Okay. So next question. Okay, this is interesting. What's your usual habit once you've received your monthly paycheck? Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
For myself at this point, I immediately set aside about 1,000 ringgit at least to actually invest. So as you know that I'm actually a dollar cost average investor. So every month I'll just set aside at least that about 1,000 ringgit just to set it aside to put it into an investment. Don't ask me what investment. But generally I'll just set it in.
Okay.
That'll be number one thing.
Okay.
And then remaining generally is to pay off all the family kind of stuff. And being a family man, there's a lot of stuff to pay on. All the children education, all these things are. Once I pay off all that, right, then whatever that's left will be for me to spend. So I'm quite how do I say, quite clear with how much I'm spending on a monthly basis. It's very trackable in that sense. How it works is that because when I first start putting aside all these important things already, right, remaining when I go to zero, right, then I know it's zero with you. So you roughly know how much are you spending on a monthly basis already. I think, and in my own personal way of doing monthly budgeting in that sense, for many of my audience, they know that I don't really budget in that sense. But I think you keep a few key points there, which is first set aside money as a savings or as investment, then I think the rest will be taken care of.
Yeah. I think that's the most important point lah. My own way of saving money is pretty much like yours, right? During the start of the month, I pay myself first, which is basically treat myself like a bill lah. You know, you pay your T&B bill, you pay your water bill, right? Why not you just, you know, make yourself like a bill where you pay a fixed percentage of your salary.
That's right.
So rather than fixing a figure, because your salary will increase, right? So if you fix 1,000 ringgit now, when your salary increases, it still stays at 1,000 ringgit. So the way I do it is, I fix a percentage of my salary, maybe 5, 10, or even 15%, right? And during the start of the month, immediately I send this money to a separate bank account, or I use it to invest in the markets. Well, again, investments vary, probably the US market, Malaysian market, bank stocks, yada yada. Dollar cost average, similar strategy to yours.
That's right.
Then the remaining 75, 80, or even 85%, right? I use it to pay my bills, right? I use it to spend on whatever I want. So that balance, that 80 to 90% sometimes, right? I'm free to spend on anything that I want. I'm free to use it to pay my bills or whatsoever, right? And when I finish that amount, I'm still okay because, like you, we've saved during the start of the month already. We paid ourselves.
That's right. That's right.
So we don't feel guilty of spending the leftover money. Okay. And sometimes what you'll notice is for those people who want to try out this strategy, right, is during the end of month, you'll probably see some balance left on, maybe 200 to 300 ringgit. And what I do is instead of forcing myself to spend everything, I carry forward to the next month. So during the next month, right, I have like plus 300 to my salary. So that is sort of like a morale booster,
Right.
a morale booster to myself.
Right.
So the strategy, pay yourself first, everybody has heard of it already. But I take it a step further, I pay myself last also. So last is like, you know, using any leftover savings you have, which you can spend, sure. But if let's say you don't want to spend, you just carry forward to the next month. And next month, let's say you earn about 5K, and then you have like remaining 200-300 ringgit. And this month, imagine your salary is 5.2K already. So it is I think a one-way trick to help you, you know, really bump up your savings.
I actually do this. If I got extra money, I'll throw it more into investment.
Okay.
So I make sure I remain zero every time. I'll just throw it again into investment, right? And usually by the end of the month, you see some market movement again, right? Then you go like, I think it's a good time to add more. That's what I tend to do. Having said that, I think we actually have a live question.
Go ahead.
I thought it would be quite interesting to answer this. Let me just tap it up there, right?
Sure.
This is from Anin Hassan. Hi, Anin. So how do you see the property market will go in the next 5 to 10 years? More people buying or renting? I think this is a good one, right? Because it's a bit more subjective, more opinion-based.
Very subjective.
Maybe Shinji, you want to share a little bit? Like, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, personally, I go with the purchasing power and the population of the citizens. Okay. You look at the purchasing power of young fresh grads as well as millennials right now. I mean, people like your son now. Okay.
Hello.
Hi. What's your name? What's your name?
Samuel. Okay. Papa, continue. Okay. See you, Samuel.
Hey, probably we need to ask him for some savings tips. See whether you educate him properly or not.
Okay. Let's continue. You were saying about.
So on topic. I look at the trend of the property market based on the purchasing power of citizens, as well as the population of citizens, right? If you look at the birth rate, like what you mentioned just now, is declining, right? So, and then a lot of properties these days are popping up left, right, and center. Like recently, there's like been 2 or 3 other developments, condos, and some of they are not low densities one, they are medium to high densities one. Then you wonder, where does all this money? Where do the developers find all this money from? Because we ourselves, the current generation, I'm a millennial, I'm 28. I don't even have enough money to buy one property, be it 2 or 3 different properties. So if you project this into the future, I don't really understand where is the demand coming from. Because previously it came from the boomer generation. That's why it's called boomer, because you generate a lot of wealth. That generation, they generated a ton of wealth, which allowed them to buy multiple different types of properties, right? And do leverage. So one person, they own like 4 or 5 different properties, which really propped up the property market, right? But now, if you look at the Gen Zs as well as millennials, if you ask anyone on the street how many houses do they want to own, how many units do they want to own, the majority of them will just say, I have one nice home, it's enough already. I rather invest in the stock market. I rather invest in things like Bitcoin whatsoever. I don't want to go through the hassle of investing in another property because number one, it requires a lot of capital. Number two, it requires a lot of management, right? If you want to rent out to somebody else, right, you're going to take care of tenants and so on and so forth, right? And number three, the reward is not as high because I've seen a few data. The trend, right, the uptrend of the property market is starting to cool off lah. So I may be wrong. I will pass the torch to you lah. See what you think.
Yeah. So regarding this, I think my views are actually quite similar with you. Yeah, but maybe because I'm also 10 years older, right? Yeah, so I also got a little bit of struggling with the Asian mentality a bit, right? Which is not logical.
Yeah.
So just to share very quickly my thoughts. The first thing that's going to happen, as we all know, is population decline, right? Hey, Coco, let me continue first. Yeah.
Population decline, but
wait, just a moment.
Peter, you just said population decline, but you're helping the population.
Yeah, I'm going to grow the population, right? Yeah. Okay. So when it comes to this, I think the first thing is that there's a population decline, whether we like it or not. So if you actually look at Malaysia data by 2040, 2050, right, Malaysia is going to be an aging population. Yeah, aging population, and by means is that you're going to be looking at countries like Japan, right? If you look at a country like Japan, what you actually see could likely reflect what we're going to see in Malaysia, right? If you look at something like Hong Kong as well, it could likely reflect something in Malaysia and even South Korea.
Sorry to interrupt you there. How is it like in Japan and Hong Kong right now? Do you mind explaining to the...
What you will see is this, right? Generally, there are a lot of properties. Properties can be very highly valued, right? It's because there are a number of people who bought the properties who are from the boomer generation and they're rich. So one person owning a multiple of property. Now, so because they are rich, they also are not in a rush to sell their property.
True.
Yeah. True. Because of that, the price keeps going up, but people can't really afford because the poor is not really getting richer.
So
right?
It's priced out from them already.
Yes, it's very priced up from them. So they can't afford to get one. The only option is actually to rent. Now, then who will buy your property? Generally, it will come to people who are rich again. And because they're rich, they're not buying to stay. It is, and generally, we all know the idea about investment is this, right? You buy low, sell high, ma? So everyone wants to push it down. So now suddenly, right, it becomes a very interesting position to be in, where you have a lot of properties, but people actually cannot afford to buy. And so the prices are high because what you put up there as the asking price is high, rather than actual transacted demand is high.
Right.
Now, so the only way that it can actually boost it is that if there is certain economic booster. I think something that you can see is like, for example, SEZ, right? When Johor SEZ, what happened was that when they announced a bunch of stuff, people start buying property in Johor again, right? Now, all this comes down to a cycle, right? And how affordable it can be is the next question to ask, right? So, do I think people are going to buy and rent? My personal thought is this as well. With a population decline, then usually only local citizens will buy a property because you're talking about 20, 30 years down the road. Yeah. So when you have less local population, then even if there's residents, I think chances are they're going to rent, right? Yeah. So then there's going to be an issue. Now, so does it mean the property is doomed for the next 20 or 30 years? I don't think so. It's just that it is going to have a very big difference between the prices of property in urban area where residents are dense, right? Population are dense, versus a rural area or a countryside where there are a lot less people, right? So because people are going to migrate, so what happens is that you will notice areas like Bangsa, areas like certain Mont Kiara may experience a very steady increase in price, and it will go to become more and more unaffordable. But slightly a bit off the outskirts, the prices will remain rather stagnant or even depreciated.
Yeah.
So I think that is gonna be what's gonna happen. And personally, is it a good investment? I will still think that if you can, you may want to buy a house to home to stay.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
but as I'm saying this as well, I'm actually gonna be renting a house. So like recently, I'm
Oh,
gonna move out. So
okay.
I was thinking whether do I want to buy a house or do I want to rent a house. So
Mm.
it's not that I don't have a house. I do, but I rent out my current property to other people lah.
Mm.
So but recently I'm thinking about like okay, we're gonna rent a house and we're thinking about getting a landed. And I was calculating as much as I tried to calculate,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
If a landed property is about R1 million,
Right.
my upfront cost is about 150,000 ringgit or
Yes.
140,000 ringgit
Yes.
just to acquire the house, upfront
Yep.
cost.
Yep.
Now, it doesn't include my renovation
Nope.
cost. If I want to live in a house that I really, really enjoy it means that I need to throw in another 100K minimally for investment, right?
Mm.
Just to renovate the house. And this 100K is not recoverable when you sell the house.
Nope.
Yeah. You know, if you go and buy a house, right, no matter how good the renovation is, right, it will only affect the pricing by a little bit. Yeah. Because generally, most people when they buy a landed property, they will spend money renovate it. Yeah.
Okay.
So it doesn't really bring in that much of value. And because generally renovation stuff, unless it's structural, it is wear and tear.
Mm.
So it means that you also got to price in the usage, right?
Mm. Mm.
Now, with all that in mind, right, I calculated in 30 years, let's say I rent a house right now for 3,000 ringgit, and then my upfront cost is about 8,000 ringgit because 2 months rental, 2 months
Yep.
deposit, those kind
The
of stuff.
standard. Yep.
Yeah. So this is my current cost versus if I buy a house, which is a landed 1 million ringgit, upfront cost 190K, then including 50K in renovation, which is very, very, very,
Very
very
low. Very
minimal.
low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on top of that, every month extra 1,000 ringgit to
You pay the bank.
because your installment is gonna be 4,003, right?
Yeah.
So you have extra 1,000 ringgit. I calculated if I'm looking at 30 years down the road, right? If I can invest this at 15% a year, which is very likely we can do that when we are doing more active investment,
Yeah.
or either if we are investing in say a certain good unit trust fund even,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, means you're not being a lazy investor lah, right?
Mm-hmm.
With that, I'm able to generate 16 million ringgit.
Whoa.
16 million
16
ringgit in
million
cash.
ringgit.
Yeah, 30 years down the road, 16 million. Now, what if I bought the house? 30 years down the road, that house, because it's in KL area, the average growth is about 5.6% to 6%. And we are talking
Okay.
about KL area, right? And you know that property prices are like that. In 2012, that time, the prices went up by 10 over percent, then it went stagnant for a very long time, like that, right?
Mm.
Yeah, so you average it out.
Mm.
When you average it out already, right, about 6%, right, my property value is actually 5 million. You get an old house with a value of 5 million. Yeah, and so no matter how I calculate, right, I think that I just still can't bear myself doing it. So in the end, I still choose to rent.
Yeah. So I guess the answer to this question is, in our opinions, it's pretty clear which one we prefer.
Yeah.
Right now, looking at the trend and everything, right? We've came a long way from the start of the question. So probably people, the followers who are listening in right now, they might need to consider twice or thrice before they want to commit to a property or commit to multiple properties.
Yeah, that's right. But this is only our personal opinion, right? It's
Yeah.
not like it's not conventional wisdom. It is just
Yeah.
our own way of thinking. Yeah.
Interesting. Probably next time we should get I Heng. You know I Heng? I think you know I Heng, right?
Yeah.
We should probably get him inside here to discuss about this also. He might give us a different perspective about what's going on in the property market right now. So
Definitely. Yeah.
okay, let's move on. Let's see. Okay, next question. Next plan question. Is there a good way to buy medical card with investment plan together? How to choose a good insurance or medical card? Okay, so recently a lot of drama regarding this. Citizens frustrated. Medical premiums sky high, and they are going sky high again. This year alone, a lot of people receive 40 to 80% increments.
That's right.
Despite Bank Negara Malaysia implementing a few temporary measures to curb the price increases, doesn't seem like it's stopping any price increases. I've seen a lot of people posting on X that they've received their AIA, they've received their Prudential, all of it is price hikes, all of it is absurd, 20, 30, 40, sometimes even 70%, right? And right now, I think, is it fair to say it's going to be a crisis? I think it's fair to say really, like it is definitely going to be a crisis. So, but the issue right now, which I think not only lies with the medical industry, I think there is a lack of proper guidelines where people can go online. I think we spoke about this on the sidelines also, right, previously, Peter. I said that if there is a guideline where people can go online, search in less than 3 seconds, where you can do it for the best fixed deposit rates, why can't you do it for insurances, right? You go online, you search, what insurance should I buy, right? There should be multiple guides to very quickly guide you and give you a better idea on what sort of plans that you should target for. Because my understanding is that a lot of these insurance plans, the prices mainly come from the commission towards the agents, right? As well as if you buy an investment linked plan, that's where a big portion of your money goes to. Sure, there's medical inflation as well, but you add all of these costs together, right? Yeah, that's where you get a very pricey medical plan. Yeah. So what do you think? Good ways to buy a medical card with or without investment plan?
Yeah, so perhaps this I can shed a little bit light on it because
previously
it's my own
you
industry, right? I've done it for a long time, and time to time, I mean, both of us also get to join Bank Negara's meetings and stuff like that, right?
A bit PNC, but sure.
Yeah, but we won't share like what is it? We can't share the content of it like Chatham rules. But anyway, the point is this, right? Now, if you look at an insurance product currently, when this person is asking about investment link, right, there are a few misconceptions I want to put it out there. A lot of people think that the commission rate for investment link product is higher. Number one, that's not true. Investment link product commission rate is actually lower. Yeah. Instead, standalone products sometimes, depending on whether it's a general insurance product or whether it's a life insurance product, it varies, right? And sometimes standalone plan may have a higher insurance in terms of percentage. Now, a standard insurance plan, the insurance commission is between, including the whole agency, somewhere between 160 to 180%. Percent. So if you pay 2,000 ringgit a year, or either 1,000 ringgit a year, what happened is that your total commission payout is roughly about say 1,600 or 1,800, right? Yeah.
So the plan itself is around 400.
So let's say you pay 1,000 ringgit a year, your commission paid is about 1,600 or 1,800, but spread across 5 years. So why they can do that is because your annual premium is 1,000, but you're gonna pay for 30 to 80, or depending on how old are you, right? 30 years and above. So they can afford to pay such a high comp. And because it's paid upfront, right? So the compounding opportunity cost there is where it will move the what do you call that? You will move your premium prices up. Now, to put it simple, there were a few mistakes that were done in the past that caused the current situation right now. Number one, at one point, one of the insurance company decided to come out with an unlimited lifetime plan and more than 1 million ringgit yearly limit. And that kind of caused this thing where like everyone like, whoa, 1 million, everyone wanted to go for it. Now suddenly in the market all is 1 million. But there's an issue with that one. Because immediately every year when there's a new medical advancement, right, it becomes more expensive. And now they cannot cap it and say that with the more expensive treatment, we need to rework our product and reprice it according to the new costs. They have to take into account of future costs, and what more, it's an unknown cost. And when medical advancement come into Malaysia, they see that, oh wow, insurance can actually pay up to 1 million 1 year or 2 million 1 year these days. It means that we can price it higher, right?
Definitely. It's a good opportunity for them.
If your business, it's dumb that you don't price it higher. I'll just put it that way. It's kind of like, imagine tomorrow, right? your patron member, all of them ask you, hey bro, you can charge me 200 ringgit every month. Then you're like, hey, definitely
Well,
charge, right?
the,
Yeah,
the,
that's the
the,
point, right?
that boils down to the ethical question, right?
That's right.
Whether it's
Now,
ethical.
and private hospital is definitely a for-profit vehicle.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
now, what people also do not realize is this: while consultation fee and basic medical charges are governed,
Mm.
what happened is there's regulation around it. Hospital costs, there's no regulation on. For example, how much do I want to charge you for tissue paper? How much do I want to charge you for X-ray scan? It is not really government. No. There's no exact price to say how much should I charge you for bed, how much should I charge you for gauze, how much should I charge you for certain things. Now, however, there's also a misconception. Some time ago, one of the pages actually posted and said that, hey, when I go and see a doctor, that time they asked me whether I got insurance or not, and then they charge my first they say if no insurance, first consultation will be 118. If got insurance, first consultation is 260. So a lot of
Oh
people
my
got
God.
very angry, right?
Okay.
But just to share with you, right, what happened is that Malaysian doctors actually give a discount because you don't have insurance. It is actually a discount. It is
Wow.
actually not.
A
It is
price
actually not.
increase. It's not a price
Be-
increase.
because
Mm.
the actual price they are allowed to charge is 200 plus, but because you got no insurance, so they give you a discount. Now, but so now with those kind of
Wow.
posts also, a lot of medical doctors are very
Burned out.
disappointed. You know,
They're very burned
yeah,
out.
they're very burned out.
Burned out.
They were like they actually messaged me, they emailed me, and then they say like, hey Peter, can you talk about this? Because we feel so unfair. We are actually giving people a discount, and now we are painted as the bad guys. Now, anyway, to cut a long story short, it's a very complicated subject, and everyone right now I can see is trying to regulate hospital charges based on
Mm.
the current sentiment lah. But
Mm. Mm.
I think it's going to be extremely challenging because, as all of us know, hospital owners are these few people, right? Number one, Sunway,
K-
right? Number
KPJ.
two, KPJ. KPJ is owned by Jacob for one of the largest shareholders is Jacob, for those who do not know. Then
Yeah.
the next one is actually Pantai. Pantai is IHH, right? Which is Khazanah as part of the owner. So it means that ultimately the whole vehicle itself, there are too many people being involved. And so to answer the question of how to, I think I digress already.
Yeah,
I digress a little
we
bit too far.
digressed a bit, yeah, but
Yeah, I'm so
yeah,
sorry.
sure.
But to answer the question is that how do you choose a good medical policy that's investment link? At this point, there's no investment link that you can buy online. All
Oh,
investment link have to buy from an agent.
okay,
And
okay.
unfortunately, commission is worked within the product.
Yeah,
Even with your current price
yeah.
increase, your price increase actually includes agent commission,
Mm.
even though the agent didn't sell you anything and help you anything. Uh, I think that in future there is a need for us to kind of figure out a better
To
way
sell
of
this
a
product.
better product
Mm.
where maybe people can opt for simpler products where there's no agent servicing involved,
Yeah.
or what I would call it a self-serving insurance product. Yeah.
No, actually, Peter, I entirely agree with you. And right now, there are actually multiple insurance medical premiums that are sold online, and you don't even have to go through agents, right? It's just that as a user, you have to be able to put that effort, put that 10, 15, sometimes 1 hour effort to go and look online to compare different types of products and to really understand what sort of things that you want. Like for me, I sort of like created an insurance guide for myself already, and I posted it online previously multiple times. It's number one, if you're single and you have no dependents, right, and your parents don't rely on your monthly income, I think getting getting a medical premium is enough. It's more than enough. You don't have to opt for a life insurance plan because then again, your parents do not need your income. You're not a sole breadwinner, right? So that's why if you are not a sole breadwinner, getting a medical premium is enough. And number two, the coverage. I've also read quite a few articles online. What sort of annual coverage that you should have. The good range, the ballpark is around 2 to 4 times your annual income. Yeah. But
Yeah.
obviously, that depends on whether your family has a history with critical illnesses or not. If your family has that, then probably you might want to consider a critical illness plan as well.
Yeah.
Then three is to just make sure that the medical premium itself comes with like it's cardless. That means you can get admitted to the hospital without being charged a single cent. It's a cashless policy, right? Rather than you pay first, then you fill out a reimbursement form, then after that the insurance company reimburses you. So this sort of like rough guideline, right, has prevented me from trying exploring different types of investment linked plans or even insurance products that don't really fit into my current age and my current risk profile, so to speak. And another thing about investment linked plan, which I think you're very familiar with this, I've done quite a bit of research. A lot of those investment linked plans, they don't really keep up with inflation. They don't really keep up with, they don't even beat EPF, you know. So essentially, you're throwing away that easily 100, 200, or maybe even 300 ringgit every month to something that doesn't even keep track of inflation. Might as well you use that 100, 200 ringgit, the extra money, to dollar cost average, like what Peter does during the start of the month, right? So yeah, investment linked plans. You know, what do you think about it?
Here's where there's good and bad. Why is it so? Is because I want to tackle a few questions because there are insurance agents here as well. They'll be saying that why you say that, right?
Please.
No, I'm not saying insurance agents are bad. I think insurance agents are very good, right? They do help you sort out your needs to a certain extent, and they help you match yourself with the right product from the company, right? And yes, they serve you for the rest of the life if you meet a good one, right? Now, nonetheless, but I think that to a certain extent, to have a product that forces you to have an agent may not be very fair in today's day of age, simply because it is getting more and more expensive. So what if people are saying that I rather choose to figure it out myself and they have no option at this point? So that's the sad part lah. So I'm not saying that don't have. I'm saying that it should be an option. That's the first thing. Now, number two, what you say is very true. Yeah, some of these insurance investment linked the funds is not even catching up with inflation. That's very true. But actually, personally, I still go for investment linked plan. The reason being is because of the product structure. I think there's a lack of innovation put into products over the years, simply because the way that it's being structured. So if only there is also products that allow you to have the flexibility like an investment linked plan. Because very often standalone plan today, not much of flexibility one. So I do enjoy the flexibility of an investment linked plan and certain features of it. For example, if you're using an investment linked plan, right? If let's say next year suddenly you lose your job, you got no money, you have a cash value inside that allow you to pay for the insurance premium for a couple of months, right?
I see.
Before it runs away. So that was how during COVID time, right? There were a lot of people who couldn't pay for their insurance, but they still managed to keep their insurance alive. But if you're using a pure standalone plan, within 30 days of due date, you don't pay, your insurance plan is cancelled.
Relapse.
So there are some of these kind of little nuances that I think that insurance linked plan deserve to take a look, but less of about making money lah. So usually when I buy my investment linked plan, I put very, very little into investment one.
I see.
My investment value is minimal one.
I see.
It's just good enough to play with the flexibility lah. So it kind of depends on how you are structured. And here's where I also understand, if you want to learn about investment linked plan online, it can be a bit more challenging. And that's why Bank Negara do not have a mandatory thing and say, hey, investment linked plan should be made online purchase without an agent. Because to explain it itself, right, does take quite a bit of time.
Takes a lot of time, and it's very complex. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I hope that guy give everyone a little bit of a picture of the insurance side of things.
Yeah, okay. There is a comment by Charlotte. She said that I think when it comes to unit trust or insurance, it depends on who your agent is, which we entirely agree, right? My agent hasn't been very helpful when I needed to make a claim, but my sister is great. My sister's is great, responsive and helpful. Yeah, it really boils down to who is your agent and whether whether the agent cares about making their KPIs look nice or they care about their customers lah. So So, if you have like a gut feeling that your current agent is not really good enough, then probably it's probably time to look for a new agent,
Yeah,
or
and,
maybe
and here's
even.
the thing: when the commission is built into the product, right? You even if you change agent, the new agent don't get a com, so it's very hard to change. So that's why I think
Wow.
that to a certain
Wow.
extent, right, they should figure out how to solve this problem by liberalizing the product from an agent, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you
yeah.
you you pay for the agent service in itself, you pay for the product in itself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the tough part lah. Okay, but I hopefully we answered the question. Whether good
Yeah.
way to buy medical card with investment plan or without investment plan. Okay, hopefully we gave you a better idea lah, or maybe if we made you more confused, do voice out in the chat.
Yeah, time to time I
Uh,
actually do workshops on how to buy your own insurance.
oh,
So yeah,
okay,
maybe I
okay.
should do that again.
Probably you should do that again. I think everybody would be more than happy to join. Okay, next question. Let's move on to the next one. Let's see. A good way to start life as a fresh graduate in terms of the financial end. Okay, wind back the time, Peter.
Mm.
Let's say you're about 22 years old. You just graduated, or maybe even 24 years old. You graduated slightly later. With your knowledge now, what's the first thing that you would do?
Oh, wow. Back then, if I were
Mm,
to begin,
mm,
I would say that I would save more money.
mm,
Yeah, that would be the thing.
mm,
But if you ask me, is there anything I would really, as a fresh grad within the first 2 years, would have done
mm,
anything different?
mm, mm.
Then not so.
O-
Then not
Okay.
so. But I think the first thing is, again, set aside at least 20 to 30%
Mm,
to save and to invest. It's
mm.
okay to live poor for the first 2 years because you started off poor anyway. So just don't inflate your lifestyle
Wow.
immediately, right? Yeah,
Uh,
that's number one.
okay.
Number two is try to spend more time figuring out how to get good at what you do and make money with it,
Mm,
right?
mm,
Rather than figuring out how to trade your way to success, right? I think a lot of people when they're young, they think that, oh, I want to do trading, and then I can make some passive income, that kind of thing.
yeah, yeah.
I want to say that you can do that, but generally, trading is a business where money makes money. So if you know money, it's very hard to make money, lah. Yeah. So that's the first thing. So spend time figuring out how to get good at what you are going to be doing and make money from it, because as long as you can ensure that you can make good money, your life is pretty much set, at least 50% set. Yeah,
Mm,
because if you can make good money, right, even if you end up making certain mistakes, you can come back from it much more easier
mm,
one. Like
mm,
I'm a big testament to it, where I've made a number of financial screw ups in my life, but because my income is strong, I can get out of it very fast and I can rebuild my wealth in a very short period of time. Yeah,
mm,
short now is in few months, but it's a couple of years, then it rebuilds back.
mm.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Uh, I want to talk more about the point about trading there, lah, because recently there are a lot of advertisements regarding trading, right? You quit your 9 to 5 job, you can become a full-time trader, all this type of thing. What I would say to this for people to consider is that they, when, when you're in this market, right, the trading market, you're competing against big banks, big corporations, and big firms who have easily hundreds to thousands of people working to analyze the market, and they have the capital to play with it. They have the
Yep.
capital to dump the market. They have the capital to pump the
That's
market.
right.
So if if a pro trader can't even beat this very expert financial professional institutions, right? Then I'm sorry lah, your odds to becoming a full-time trader is very slim. Okay, it's not zero, but it's very slim. And I tried trading before. It's to me it was a big waste of money. I might as well just put the money in the market and just leave it there, right? Because
Yeah.
time in the market always beats timing the market. Right? If you look at how Warren Buffett and all of those big investors are how they manage their investments. Okay, and the point about the how to start as a fresh grad, right? So I'm currently 28. If I can wind back another 5 to 6 years, I guess the first thing I will do is invest more in myself. Yeah.
Mm.
Rather than rushing to invest in the market, rather than rushing to like, oh, put money into Bitcoin or whatsoever, because right now Bitcoin 100K, why not I just put 10,000 ringgit in Bitcoin previously, now be a rich man. I probably won't do that. If I can reverse back the time, I will use that money to buy books, listen to podcasts, read about everything and anything at all, and see which one takes my interest. So investing yourself is more worth it than, especially when you're young, than rushing to invest in the market, at least based on my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Next question. Let's go to the next one. I'm going to pick the interesting ones because we have. Okay. Meanwhile, if anybody in the chat currently has any questions, it's a good opportunity for you guys to ask anything.
Yeah, you can type it in the question box there, right? I think there's a question box there.
Yeah, there's a question box
just
there.
put it in. Yeah, then we'll also highlight those questions. So those who actually join us online today,
Okay.
yeah, you get a first priority for your question, right?
Peter, I think I have an interesting question over here. How do you balance hobby with work as a business owner? Okay. What's your hobby first? What's your hobby?
I like golfing now.
Okay.
I like working out. And I like reading.
Okay.
Yeah. Hobby lah, right?
Okay.
I like jujitsu as well. Yeah, I'm a very sports guy. So I make it a point every week I will set aside my Thursday mornings for golfing.
Okay.
Right? Like regardless. Unless you really, really need me, please don't disturb me on Thursday morning. That's what I'll tell my staff. So every Thursday morning, it's just gonna be golfing. Then on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, it's gonna be gym, right, in the morning. So
Yeah.
what I can say is this: I came to learn this one thing in life is that you got a lifetime to be successful and to build a great career, but you only have that long to live your life in terms of spending time with family, in terms of repairing your health or investing in health. Yeah, it's too late to invest in your health when you're like 60 years old, right? Yeah. So these are those things that will make block time. And when you hit block time, please understand that it's not about making block time, say 2 o'clock in the afternoon when you're working. It means that maybe it demands you wake up a little bit earlier than normal to go and do those things. And then after that, or either sleep a little bit later, right? Whatever it is, so that it doesn't affect your journey also in terms of pursuing what's needed. Now, so that is my current way of actually balance between hobby and business.
Okay. Interesting. So basically, you allocate yourself a day of the week where you allow yourself to pursue your hobbies.
That's right. Yeah.
And priorities. I think what I got from what you said just now is priorities.
Yeah.
Trying to balancing between, building your brand, spending time with your family. Each of it requires a set amount of your attention, and I find it fascinating that you allocate a specific day to spend with your family, or perhaps a specific day to spend with your hobby,
Yeah.
which in my way is sort of like that also. What I do is in the morning itself, I have a notebook, which probably you guys can try it out, okay? How I run the futurist. Morning, I take out a notebook, okay, and I list down what I need to do for the entire day until maximum 5 o'clock only. My work is from 9 to 5. After 5, I close the notebook. I don't work anymore. Which is why if you message us after hours, right, after 5, we don't respond to your messages, man. Okay, because I asked my team not to respond to any of your messages also. Yeah, because we have to take our break also. Then weekends, we also don't respond to your messages because weekends sometimes I have to do my live sessions, right? That's why I don't put any priority towards responding to those messages.
Right.
Okay, so 9 to 5, right? I list down all the tasks. And the tasks can be as simple as replying an email, can be as simple as like go to the pantry and fill up some water. Yeah. I list down like sometimes 10 or 15 different tasks, each ranging from very, very, very simple, and some of it is quite difficult. So quite difficult tasks include something like, think about what to post in Instagram today. And because we need to generate idea, right? We need to have an idea, then you have to do your research and stuff like that, right? But I also include a lot of easy tasks there. So you can tick off the easy boxes first. Then you feel like very achieved. You feel like you have the motivation to go ahead and achieve more. So that's like a small idea of how I run my day. Okay, and then I try to achieve like 70 to 80% of the tasks that I listed up. And if once I achieve them, right, the remaining tasks I just don't care. I just like, okay, never mind, it's fine. I already achieved 70 to 80%. Close the book, go for next day. So sometimes I will have a few days where I achieve all of my planned tasks very early one. Sometimes I achieve it at like 2 p.m.
Wow.
Sometimes I achieve it at like 12 p.m. So what I do, rather than forcing myself to continue working, continue producing content, which in the end of the day will stress me out and will make me feel burned out, I close the notebook, I open up Netflix, I watch it for the entire next 5 hours. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That
is what I do, and that's what I honestly will tell you guys. If you have a job or whatsoever, right, and the job is paying you to work from 9 to 6, I will stand by the 9 to 6 very disciplinedly one. I don't like to work over hours. If you want me to work over hours, make sure you pay me the fair amount. You substitute me for the fair amount of work that I'm planning to do. And I believe that the quality of the output is much more important than the output itself. It's much more important to put quality in your work than appear that you're working hard, you know. So a lot of people feel guilty that, oh, I finished my work early at 12 o'clock. Let me try and do something else to make myself look busy. But I don't do that anymore these days. Once I finish my allocated tasks, I finish all of the 10 things. Okay, I tell myself, okay, time to close the book. What is there for me to enjoy today?
Wow,
so I watch a movie or what's basically living by the moment lah. And then the next morning I wake up, same thing. Okay, today, this week, what is my plan? Okay, maybe I want to post on Instagram, so time to design and Instagram post, right? I try to finish it by the afternoon. Then later during the afternoon, if I have any meetings, I meet somebody else. Okay, then tick. Once I finish 70 to 80% of all those ticks, close the book, rinse and repeat. So that is basically how I balance my work life.
Right.
And when it comes to hobbies, I go to badminton. I like playing badminton. I go to badminton on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Yeah. So Monday is my groceries shopping day. I go to shop for groceries with my girlfriend. So yeah, that's pretty much my entire week.
Wow, that's good. I think I'm a bit more I think back then when I was doing insurance, I was a bit like that. I think nowadays I'm a bit more workaholic these days lah. So what I realized is that routine. Actually, basically, I think me and you share this one thing is routine. I think the only way to balance. Recently, I've been doing a lot of thinking and reflecting of life and everything. All right. Is that I realized that when you set a routine in your life, you actually have much more freedom to balance things out.
Yes.
But when you do not have a routine, you are going your day based on day by day, how is it going to look like? Instead, what happens is that you do not know where to draw a boundary and you find that you have no balance. Be it too much of fun or too much of work. Right. So I would encourage everyone to think about it in that manner, right? When you want to plan your life, is to think about routines. What kind of routine will work for you? Then you plan based on that routine. It doesn't mean that you die have to follow, but rather it is a good base for you to just change a little bit and then go based on it, right? That's something that I would say.
And what sort of things what sort of environments and what sort of basically things that can encourage you to go into your flow? You know, flow is basically a state where you work and you don't keep track of anything else but just the work itself. You enjoy work to the moment where, oh no, 2 hours passed already. I'm still doing this thing that I enjoy so much. So what is the thing that really puts you into this state? What is the thing that will make you to go into this flow state? Where, what, and how to go into it, right? I think that's the most important thing, because for me, it's usually in the morning section, like from 9 to 12, is how I get into flow, when I start to research about what to write, what to post, and I really enjoy doing it, because it's a passion. It's really a passion that keeps me going every day. So probably something that the followers can, or you guys can maybe try and adopt and see whether it works out for you or not. Yeah. Okay, I think we also got another interesting question from Charlotte again. How do you guys monetize as content creators?
Oh, that's a
Peter,
good one.
your strategy? Well, you're making the big bucks right now, lah.
Hey, no, no,
So
no, 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 don't say that, don't say that. Yeah, 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 yeah. You're also making big bucks, bro.
no, 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 no.
No,
Okay,
my own not big buck. Mine very
you
small.
you you explain first, then I explain my end. So go ahead.
Okay, I think over the years, what I did is that I collaborate a lot more with brands to actually come on content. Because my strategy deliberately from the start was to not take money from my audience, lah, especially when it comes to expensive courses.
Hmm.
Nothing like that. It's just that I wanted to provide a more affordable option for people. Time to time, I would still work on some classes and some workshops where I will charge, but usually very affordable rates, simply because I came to also learn that when you don't charge, people take it for granted. One,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
So that is the thing, lah. The next thing is because of that, I work a lot with banks, I work a lot with government, I work a lot with whatever brands that there is. Uh, but in future, also I'm thinking about, I've been talking to you about I want to build my own Patreon
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, simply
Subscription based
because,
model.
simply because I don't really want to take whatever job that comes by.
Yeah.
I want to be more selective. But when you have a large team like mine right now, where we have about close to 20 people, it does, you have to figure out how you want to do things. And so on the other hand as well, this on the back of it, I'm actually trying to build a tech product. Yeah, and that's the reason why am I doing what am I doing. So maybe eventually I will move towards financial products. Yeah, that would be my next attempt lah. But if let's say
Hmm.
all this doesn't work, and I go back into it, then I'll just be a content creator that makes money from probably Patreon as well, and also some say sponsored kind of content.
Okay. Okay. So mainly your way to generate revenue is through sponsorships, through advertisement,
Yep.
by big brands, by banks approaching you, and then they give you a budget, they ask you to work with it,
Yeah.
right? And and
Yeah.
and you,
That's
and you
right.
try to push it out, lah.
That's right.
Okay. Okay. Uh, so the futurist business model is actually quite different. What we do is, and I spoke to Peter about this previously also, is we run on a subscription-based model. Basically, any followers who are interested to join our WhatsApp group or whatsoever, all these are paid, and we charge them. It's very affordable. It's only at 4 ringgit per month. Come on, man! It's less than your 4 ringgit per month. What can you buy these days? Uh,
Just
what
buy
can you
you a
buy
coffee a
for?
month, really, bro. To be honest.
Can't even afford you a Zeus coffee. Zeus coffee is more than 4 ringgit, right?
That's right.
So yeah, we mainly do the subscription either on Patreon or we do the subscription directly. Yeah, so if you go to our bio, sorry, yeah, advertising a bit. You go to our bio, you click, there's a WhatsApp group link you can join, right? So you can subscribe to us directly, or you can subscribe to us on Patreon. On Patreon, the price starts from $1 to $10 per month, and the benefits, the different benefits are join our WhatsApp group,
Mm.
our Telegram group, yada yada. And currently, I have about 290 to 300 members paying us somewhere between $1 to $10 every month. So it's a very small team. The future is about 2 to 3 people only. Fortunately, this income has managed to sustain us. So I also do take sponsorships from big brands, but like what you mentioned just now, you can't simply pick, right?
Yeah, yeah, correct.
And sometimes when you take sponsorships, the people will go on edge a bit, because they'll be like, oh, you're sponsored to say this, oh, you're paid to do
Yeah.
that.
Sometimes even if you're not sponsored, also people will say that one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly.
I can know many times. I'm not even sponsored, right? They're like, you're probably
Yeah.
sponsored to say that. I'm like, no lah, that's not paid lah. How I wish ah.
No, the same. The same. I write about EPF a lot, right? A lot of people think to this day I work for EPF. So which is no, guys. EPF doesn't hire me. Touch and Go, they don't hire me. They don't pay me anything at all. A lot of information that I think Peter and me we share it out for free willingly, right? So that the audience hopefully can stay more informed. But yeah, we do accept sponsorships from time to time, but it's a very case by case basis. If you look at our profile, I think you don't even know which one is sponsored because it's very hard to tell. A lot of it is not
Mm.
sponsored lah. So
My,
yeah.
my, my one quite obvious one. When it's sponsored, it's very obviously sponsored.
I probably point something towards the yellow bank. A lot from the yellow bank. Okay lah. Hey Peter, it's about 10:10
Yeah.
right now. We probably take one or two more questions. Then after
Yep.
we call it a night. So yeah. Any leftover questions from you guys, from the community, from the live audience? Please go ahead and ask them in the chat. I select one. You select one lah. Peter, go ahead.
Can.
Let me see.
What are some questions there? I can't see any questions. I don't see anyone submitted any questions yet.
I think there's one for you. There's one from Cindy. Peter, why did you quit doing insurance? Oh, very personal question.
How come you can see one? I don't have one. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Why did I quit insurance? Wow. This one is a bit okay. So it's just my personal opinion. I hope I don't offend anyone, and I don't want to cause any problem. But basically, again, it's purely personal. Firstly, I think on my personal end, I do enjoy educating people. I really love educating people. I love the fact that when I share with people stuff and then people feel like they learn something, I feel like I'm a useful member of society when I do that. Put it this way. So I get a personal sense of joy. But I don't really like the selling part, although I can be quite good at it. But I don't like the part that every time I educate someone, they have to buy something from me. And being an insurance agent, you can't just educate someone without leading to a sale or recruitment. That will be a recipe to be a poor agent. So and I'm also very practical. That I need to make money. So by the time when I was about 27, 28 years old, I really hit the income that I wanted to hit. And put it this way, maybe I don't love money that much. I know that I need to make money, but I don't love money as much. So a lot of people thought Mr. Money means I love money. No. Actually, in fact, I believe in a happy life. I believe in living life to the fullest. But I think money is just a tool for us to get there. Now, and that is why when I became a unit manager in the insurance line, I don't think I'm that good of a sales manager because you need to keep asking them, hey, buy a better car, so that you will chase for this, chase for that. Yeah, and I'm just not that kind of person, I'll go and tell my staff, if earning 8,000 ringgit is enough for you, right, then just stay with earning 8,000 ringgit lah. If you're happy with that, right, that's how you can figure out what makes you happy. So I'm that kind of a person. Now, so for these two reasons, I thought to myself at that time, is insurance really suitable for me to be doing it for the rest of my life? The short answer at the point was definitely not really. So number two, I still enjoy educating people. So what can I do? But at the point, there was no financial influencer yet, right? There was no influencer. There was YouTube just started becoming popular because we only started having 4G or 3G at the point. So then we got the connection on our phones to actually watch it. In those early days, there were like Mr. Stingy, Suraya, all those. And I one day I came across certain communications from Bank Negara, from fintech companies, and I looked at the fintech landscape. I realized that I think it's just a matter of time that people will shift to consume financial products online rather through an intermediary like an agent or financial planner. They will have its place, not that it won't be there, but there will be a gap, right? To have a self-serving kind of product or self-educating financial literacy kind of thing. And so I saw an opportunity with YouTube, with all this. Then I thought to myself, even if I can't build a product right now, maybe I can make good use of it by just putting up videos online first. If people are willing to watch it and people learn from it, I think it proves my thesis that people have that desire to be educated financially online.
Sure.
And that was what I did. And because of that, today we run a media company, and it's an okay one. We are revenue generating, we are good, we are happy. And I guess moving on ahead, I want to take things to the next step now. So I'm not saying that there won't be any insurance agent in future. I'm not saying that there won't be financial planner. I think those two will still exist,
Yeah.
and they will exist very well. Yeah, but what happened is that it will end up becoming more specialized, and there will be a market for the mass affluent or the mass market out there who prefer to have a more self-serving channel
Yeah.
to cater for their own financial needs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. No, thanks for that. I think it's a very personalized and good answer. Okay, so our last question. This one is a pretty simple one. Okay. What is your favorite quote?
What's my favorite quote?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
Okay.
your favorite quote?
My most recent favorite quote is this. Okay. It's by David Rubenstein.
Okay.
On this book, How to Invest. Yeah.
Okay.
Much of life is about investment, and your much of life is about predicting the future, and your action that reflects that view of the future.
Okay.
So what does it mean by that is that generally in everything that we do, it's a prediction of future. Like for you, yeah, you probably predicted that by doing this Patreon, by building your content, it allows you to live the life that you want to live. And your actions reflect that view that you have for the future, and therefore you invest your time to build this, you invest your finance to build this. And so the point that I want to make with that, or the point that resound with me very much with that, is whether we like it or not, life is all about investing. It's just investing your time, it's just investing your effort, investing your money, investing your attention. And so you can say as much as I don't really care about predicting things, I don't really care about investment, but the whole basis of life is as such.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And life itself works on compound interest as well, right?
That's right. That's right.
You
So you can predict your
relation.
life as a. You can say that, like, maybe if generally people without hope, they predict their life as the best I can be is just to work for someone and be paid well, or either it can be no matter what I do in life, I won't be able to be successful. Then your actions will also reflect that view of the future, and
Exactly.
therefore becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
Yeah. Yeah. If you are pessimistic and you have a more negative world viewpoint, right? Then the don't be surprised if the future turns out that way,
That's
lah.
right. That's right.
Because you are pessimistic to begin with. You are viewing the world in a negative sort of like aura, and you
Yeah,
sort of like attract a lot of these negative things also, lah. So
that's right. Yeah.
I think that's
What
a
about
great quote.
yourself?
For me, it's not a quote. For me, it's sort of like a mantra that I live by, lah. Is that focus on things you can control, let go of things you can't. So
Mm.
so basically, things that you can control. Let's say from Futurist end, things that I can control is the quality of my content, right? How I want to produce my content, where I want to post it, or whatsoever, right? And personal wise, what I can control is how I react to certain things, right? Though you cannot control your emotions, sometimes you get angry or whatsoever. But after that, how are you going to react to those things?
Mm.
Whether you
Mm.
choose to go on the negative end, whether you choose to rant or whatsoever, make your life difficult or whatsoever, right? Or you choose to create a solution for yourself, right? Those things are within your own control. And then outside of your control, very simple example is the audience reaction. Like I post something that I think is pretty useful, and then the audience didn't really react it to the way that I want, right? So those things I let go, and I try not to keep track of those. But sometimes it gets very addictive, right? Because both of us are content creators.
Yep.
We understand each other. We have to post content that is engaging. Otherwise, what's the point? It won't generate us money. It won't give us sponsorships. It won't grow our membership. But there come a point of time where it became very toxic for me, right? Because I keep looking at metrics. I keep looking at how many likes am I going to generate? How many views can I attract? And a lot of those big brands, when the sponsorships they try to approach you, they try to ask how many views can you generate with this post, you know? So these days I just tell them that I can only give you an average, I can't guarantee you that we will generate this amount of views because that is out of our control. That is out of my control. You know, so that's the mantra that I try to run by lah. And so far this year, I would say it has worked out great for me. Hopefully, it will continue to turn out better in the future. Yeah.
I'm sure it will,
Yeah.
bro. I'm sure it will. Yeah.
Okay. So wait, really thanks for this session. Thanks for doing it.
Thank you. Thank you for pulling me in and asking me to do it, man. Yeah. If you didn't ask me to do it, I also will put it aside and just not do it. Yeah. So thank you very much for making us engage with our audience. Yeah.
No, I think we should do more of this.
Maybe next time, right? We should also do it in such a way where we allow some of the people to just join into the conversation, right?
Yes.
But need a bit of measure control, like if not someone just come up here and run amok, right?
Yeah. Someone just come out here and promote their own product.
That'll be scary, like.
Probably what we will do is we will have some followers who are interested to come up to the stage contact us before the session first, right?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So then we know who to bring up to the stage and who to ask questions with, who to have a good discussion. So at least it's more related to the audience because now you have an audience to join up to the stage, right?
Yeah, okay. That's right. That's a good idea. All right, man. So thank you very much once again. Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night, everyone. Yeah, thanks so much, Peter, for doing this.
Thank you, Shinji. Yeah, good night. See you guys.
We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.